as always happens with these things, if we're not shining an example, we can be a terrible warning. The technology's just playing up. I want to start by saying welcome. When I first thought of setting up this conference, I was very interested in the word exclusive. Because exclusive sounds really, really special. And if we have an exclusive hotel, we have an exclusive club, this is an exclusive conference. The words that kind of come to mind around exclusivity, it's about luxury. That if you imagine an exclusive hotel would be very, very safe, warm, luxurious, the food would be magnificent. So there's something about exclusivity that really appeals to us. That this makes it safe, it makes me warm, it makes me feel like I belong, it makes me feel like I'm special. These are things that we all need. So the flip side of exclusivity is we exclude people. And that's a terrible, terrible thing, if you think about it. To not feel as if you belong, for whatever reason. You're different to the mainstream. You don't belong in our exclusive club. You're either not wealthy enough, you're not the right gender because it's a gentleman's club, you're not the right race, you're not the right sexuality. All these reasons to say, you're not part of us, you don't belong. This is a really profound issue because we are semi-social beings. If we didn't have each other, we would die. Quite literally. We're fairly weak as a species. We think we're independent. Social services always talks about independent living. Independent means I don't get support from anybody. I do it all myself. Rubbish. I'm not a very good farmer. I'm certainly not a very good butcher. I'm a crap cook. So I need people. I need people to do those things for me. So that way we're semi-social. I need to feel like I belong, otherwise I'm stuffed. There's a lot of people in our society, some of those groups we're going to name today, who feel excluded. They feel like they don't belong. What happens when we feel like we don't belong is we desperately, to start with at least, we try to fit in. This creates quite a problem. Because if I'm going to fit in with the prevailing culture and I don't belong, I'm going to have to fake it. I'm going to have to pretend I'm not who I say I am. I'm not who I feel I am. I have to pretend to be neurotypical in the case of, say, autism. I have to pretend to be comfortable in my assigned gender in the case of transgender. I have to pretend to be straight in order to fit into a predominantly straight community. This causes an internal war. We're talking civil war inside myself, where who I really am is not acceptable. Who I really am has to be buried. This takes an awful lot of energy. I have to push those feelings down about who I am. This causes me great distress. I also have the added problem now that sooner or later somebody could work it out. Somebody could discover me. And then I've had it. You're going to suddenly realise I'm a complete fraud and I have no business standing up in front of you at the beginning of a conference because actually I'm an imposter. Yeah? We all have that feeling somewhere, and it's about, am I acceptable? Are you going to take me for who I am? If not, then life becomes very, very difficult. Some people weren't wanted when they were conceived. Some people inside the womb weren't wanted. They don't stand a chance of feeling like they belong. They're going to go through life saying, where the hell should I be? Who the hell gives a damn about me? Everyone else has got this lovely, warm family. I'm outside. I don't belong in that family. I may never belong in a family because I've been rejected by my mother. So I've got personal experience of this in terms of we adopted a little boy. His mother, I think, did want him. However, she was unable to look after him. She had other priorities in life. And he was taken. Probably the most painful experience he had was meeting us. Because he was taken at birth and went to an absolutely loving foster family for a year. That was all he knew. We come along at the end of the year and say, come and live with us. And we take him off. We have these huge schisms. Where does he belong? And for a while, we even found ourselves talking about, does he fit? Does he fit into our family? How do you think it's going? Do you think he's happy in our family? You don't have those conversations about a birth child. A birth child is. You're born into a family, you've always been there. Since the moment of your conception, you belong. The adopted child doesn't have that core feeling. And we realised we had to change our thinking. And we had to talk in terms of, he belongs. He doesn't have to fit in. All these people that don't feel part of the mainstream don't have to fit in. They belong. They belong in our society. They exist. They're worthwhile. How do we help someone have that feeling? We don't sit back and say, yeah, well, they never seem to come to our service. These people that don't belong, funnily enough, don't feel that they belong in our service. We're going to have to do a damn sight better. There's groups of people that they need us to reach out to them and say, you are welcome. We want you. We think you should come to us. And we'll come and make friends with you first. So you don't have to come to this strange place and find out about these strange people who seem to be very mainstream. They're not really like me. They're not going to want me. What we now have is we have some kids growing up who don't feel they belong. What do they do about that? Well, if they're lucky, they find other kids that don't belong either. Now those kids could be homeless kids. Those kids could be kids that do drugs. Those kids could be kids that have been excluded from school. There's all sorts of groups that I can find if I'm disaffected. So I can go off into a subgroup and feel like I belong for the first time in my life. Somebody then comes to me and my mates, living on the streets, doing drugs, and says, here, forget the dog, you don't need the dog, forget your mates, we're going to put you in a hostel and we're going to help you. Get stuffed. This is the first time I've ever belonged. Nobody's going to do that to me. So I stay in this subculture. Belonging is fundamental. The sense of home. The sense of, if I go there, you have to take me in because I belong. My son at the moment is doing a lovely job of testing whether or not we mean it. So it kicks off, we've had 4 incidents in the last 4 days where the head teachers come up to me and said, John, can I have a word? Any parent knows that dread, the walk of shame. I shall walk to the headmaster's office and say, yeah, it's been an incident. Nothing to worry about, but it's the 4th time this week. What he's doing, I'm pretty convinced, is he's tested whether, are you going to love me and accept me no matter what? And that's what belonging really means. There's nothing you can do about me. You can't get rid of me. I belong. This is what we need to offer to a whole group of people. Our time is a bit off, so I'll cut a bit short. What we do next is really important, which is we need a refeeding program. So if you imagine somebody starving to death, imagine some of those horrendous scenes at the end of the Second World War when they liberated the camps. The thing is, you cannot go in and feed someone fabulous food when they're starving. It will kill them. They will reject it. They will throw up. They will throw it back in your face. When we're introducing love to somebody for the first time, we have to do it very, very, very slowly. Every adult that's ever been around me as a disaffected child has done something to hurt me. Who the hell are you? It's going to take you quite a long time to convince a kid like that actually you're okay. You have something to offer. Why should I come into this mainstream world? This mainstream world that's never wanted me, that's rejected me from the day I was born. Why should I come? You need to extend the welcome mat. And I'm not just talking therapy, but therapy is a very good first point. Because it's in a relationship with one person who values you, who thinks you're important, who cares about you. And that is a building block. And what we do is good feed. One of the speakers later today will talk about long-term therapy. I think this is a long-term problem. If you've never, ever felt like you belong, and you're now reaching your 20s, and you've never felt like you belong, how long is it going to take? We're going to have 6 sessions? Yeah, let's do it. No, we need a very, very slow drip. The person needs to experience consistency, they need to keep coming back, and when they bugger around, you say, I'm still here. And if they bugger around a lot, you just say, okay, we need to use a swap because it's expensive, but you can come back. You know, if you really can't engage at the moment, let's think of something else. One of the things William's going to talk about later today is other ways of engaging. But it's not all about counselling. Although I'm biased, it's not all about counselling. We're talking about building relationships at a very fundamental level. So, one of the things that we need to do is consistently be there and mean it. The other thing we need is to think about the training of all staff within this kind of work, not just counsellors. But people need to be exposed to difference and diversity in a very deep, meaningful, human way. What is the experience of the other? What is the experience of the refugee who's seen their family killed? Do we know anything about that? Can we meet them, human to human? And we can only gain those experiences by meeting those people. There's a debate within the therapy world that's been quite ferocious at times. There's a kind of concept that says we learn from the client. Which of course we do, we learn from the client. But it's not the client's job to teach us. We need to know some baseline stuff. And I would say, if we are going to learn from the client, let's pay them. So on the training program that I run, we employ people to come in as guest speakers who have client experience, who've had extreme life experiences. We pay them the going rate to be a guest speaker, whether they're someone who hears voices, somebody who's a recovering addict. They're often people that have gone on and trained themselves and are in the helping professions or they're counsellors. But that fundamental idea of meet, and I mean meet, the other person, the client group that you want to get to know, find out about. Finally, I just want to say your packs have some interesting stuff in them. They have notepads and pens. They're yours. They're a gift. Thanks for coming. Take notes. There is reasonable gaps today, and they're deliberate, so that you can actually chat to each other. You can chat to the speakers. Most of the speakers are here all day. We're also going to have a panel at the end of the day, but you might not want to ask a question in front of 50 people. You might just want to coddle them at lunchtime or something and have a chat. That's what we're here for. We want to open up the dialogue. And finally, I just want to say, incredible to think, isn't it? Now, Sue.